think this is okay. This is recording. So okay. So yeah, have so welcome back. I think we can pick from where we left off last time. I think last time we were looking at how to format tables, and we saw how we can format tables, how to use fonts, how to use icons, and the likes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Today I want us to look at two very important things in CSS. This is media queries, and after media queries, we will look into something else called after media queries, we will look into something else called flex boxes. Okay, so
Yeah.
these are tools that we okay. If time allows, we're going to look at grids, but we'll focus on flex boxes, so as we see how we can use them for formatting. So this is a 12.html. So I'll close that up. So there's space here.
It's not presenting.
Oh, it's representing, all right, not a problem.
Yeah.
You're seeing it now, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. So um, so as I've said today, we want to look at media queries and flex boxes. These are important building blocks when it comes to CSS. So um, media queries, what they do is that they allow us to use different styles for different media. So allow us to use different styles for different media. Now, in CSS, or rather in web, we have three main types of media. Actually, there are two. We have the screen and we have the print. So in media, we have three is the first one is all of them. The second one is screen, and the third one is print. Okay. Occasionally, you
Yeah.
can have speech, but we don't use this one often. Okay.
Yeah.
So most of the time, these are the three. These three, that is all screen or print, are the ones used sometimes. You can use print speech. You can also use handheld if you have handheld devices. So you can use handheld devices. But yeah, there's also TV. But mostly will both handheld and TV will form part of the screen. Okay, but of course, you know that if you're using TV, then probably maybe they come in a very large screen. There's a way you want to display things differently, like the menu is organized and so forth and so forth. A very classic example is YouTube. If you're watching YouTube on TV versus if you're watching YouTube on the computer, you realize that the one on TV does not have comments or things like that, but the ones on your computer or your handheld will have comments and things like that. Okay, so that is
Yeah.
all what media query does. It allows you to be able to use different styles for different media. Okay,
Yeah.
so the common type of media features that we deal with, the common type of features on media query and media query are things like they're things to do with height and width mostly.
Yeah.
So you'll find something like orientation. Orientation is either landscape or portrait. Eh?
Yeah.
So, like for example, landscape is when somebody's shown. If you take a phone and you tilt it, it becomes landscape. If you make it straight, it becomes portrait, right? So,
Yeah.
orientation is one of the things that media queries allow us to achieve. There's also things to do with width and height. So we have width, we have min width, and we also have max width. So all these parameters are based on width, and you can be able to target them using the media queries. Okay.
Yeah.
Then also we have height. We can also target height with media queries. So we have the height itself. We also have the mean height and max height. These are the common properties that you change with media queries. But this is not all because, as we mentioned, it allows you to apply styles based on the media that we are targeting. So before we do anything else, I want us to see what the syntax looks like. So the syntax or the style for writing a media query. So syntax for media query. So always you're going to be writing it like this. So syntax. First and foremost, we'll have the art symbol, then the media. Then we have two options. You can either use not or you can now, sorry, back symbol. You can either use not or you can specify only. Not will negate whatever you've selected. Only will provide the things that you want to target. Okay? We're going to
Yeah.
discuss what the two of them has. Then from there, we'll put the media type if available. Then after the media type, we can put a bracket and we can put and actually and outside here. Then now we put a bracket and specify the media feature we're looking at. So here we have the media feature we're looking at. The media feature can be the screen size, which can be either maximum, minimum, or orientation, the ones that I have discussed here. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So then of course you can specify their value. Then you can add others. Then once you're done, now you can output your styles here. You can put your CSS code inside here. So this is the syntax for writing your media queries. Let me just indent it inside a bit like this. So this is how you write your media query. So media. Then if you avoid the only, by default it will pick all of them. Only if you avoid only, it will pick all by default. Okay. Others you can say media screen, media print, or media all, or media speech, or media handle, or media TV, and so forth and so forth. So it will always be checking on exactly what kind of media is consuming the content of your web pages. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, again, when you are linking your files, it's also possible to link media queries. So I'll just give us a classic example. So let me just run this page. Well, it was introduced a new one. Okay. Well, let me just go back to Visual Studio and specify the. Yeah, I think that's better, right? So we have
Yeah.
nothing here. So I want to show you how we can use media queries. So maybe say for example, we want to watch this on a mobile device. So what I can do here, I can create um, a separate CSS file because you can always link separate CSS files, and that's the best practice anyway. So I can come to CSS here and I'll say mobile.css. Okay. Now this
Yeah.
mobile.css, what I'll do, I'll simply say background, simply say body, then I'll simply say something like background, maybe steel. Okay. Steel is
Yeah.
color that looks like blue. So I can come here and I can add the file like this. I will say create a link and the CSS file. But since I'm talking about a CSS file, this is going to be inside CSS. I'm going to access a file called mobile.css, right? So by default, it should change this color to green because I have not specified that color to apply for any media. But let me say I'm targeting a mobile device. So I'm targeting a mobile device, and only when I'm viewing it on mobile device is when this color becomes green. We can come here and say media is equals to, then I'll specify my media inside here. By default, if I'm not provided, you can see it's all of them. So I can say media here is screen, like that. So if I'm looking at a screen, it will be changed that. So if I say here print, you'll see it won't do that because it will only apply the background if I am trying to print. So if I do this and I say maybe print, and I can come here and say color should be all of them. So you can see now it has become green.
Yeah.
So if I say print, the color is green. If I go back to normal, there is no background. If I come back to print, you can see the background picks. So when you're applying the file, if you specify the media, it will also be able to add your style as appropriate. This is powerful because when you're printing things, we want to use a different format to print the content. Maybe you want to make the fonts a serif. We want to increase the font size. We want to use a different background. We want to use different colors and so forth and so forth so that the print comes out nicely. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where now media queries come into play. And by the way, you might not necessarily use media here. I can use something like screen. Then I can say and using the syntax that we have here. So you can say have media, then it's screen, and then I can simply say here. Here we say media feature. The media feature we're looking at here is either min or min width. So I'll say where the maximum width of the min width and min width is 480 pixels, then apply that background. So you can see, okay, this should have been max, not min. So by default, you will see it doesn't apply because this is a big. So the max up to a maximum of 480 pixels, then this file will be attached. Okay,
Yeah.
up to a maximum of 480 pixels, this will be attached. So it means that if I right click this and I come to inspect, and now you can see it's on mobile phone or mobile zone. So if I am larger than that, if I go larger, uh, let me come to mobile here. Then I become larger. So if I pick here a font that is big, like say Samsung S8, that is still 360, right? So
Yeah.
less than 480. But if I say it is responsive, here it said it's responsive, then I increase this size. You see, this is 595. So 595 it won't apply. But as the screen becomes smaller, up to 498, it's 480, 480, sorry, up to 480. Now you can see it takes that color, that style applies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see this is actually a very important feature when it comes to when you want to apply styles on different media. I want to use the same website, but I want to use it on a mobile phone. At the same time, I want to access it on TV. At the same time, I want to access it on a regular computer screen. At the same time, I want to access it on a projector and so forth and so forth. I can provide different styles altogether for my website. Okay,
Yeah.
that's very powerful, as you're going to see in a short while. We carry on, or you want to try
Yeah.
it out?
Let me try it out.
Okay.
Can I see the CSS file?
It only had one style, which is background.
Yeah. And can I see the file now?
Okay.
I think it's okay.
It's okay, yeah?
Yeah,
So now, as you can see, it's not only when you're applying a style like this. You can also use that one when you're writing your 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 styles directly. So instead of writing it here like this, okay.
yeah.
So I can come here and now put it. You can see now it will apply automatically. But I can say here at media is screen and max width is, let me work with for 80. Then I'll do a background of teal. So I'll just remove this one. So here I will now do a background. So you can see as I'm here, it's not applying, but when I click here and I say inspect, now you can see it becomes still. So you might put it as media as part of the link here, or you can just add the media and of course then add the properties. Then we put our CSS inside over here, just similar to what we had done in the past. And this is the most elegant way of doing it anyway, because from here I can target different screen size. So I can say I want maybe a very light screen to be green, light green. So I'll simply say background. I mean, yeah, I'll simply say here body. Then I say background light green, light blue, right? So by
Yeah.
default, if the page is loading, you can see the background is light blue. Okay. Then if I'm watching it on a tablet, so I'll simply say add media screen and 768 is tablet. I'll show you the breakpoints. Then maybe light coral. So you can see right now it's actually it has actually now moved from light blue to light coral because this screen is now an average tablet. So if I came here and simply say change it to a mobile device, then maybe change the orientation. You can see the orientation here now. When it's when it is there, it's like blue. When it comes to 768 and below, it becomes teal. Then when it becomes a very small mobile screen, it becomes blue. So in short, I can apply styles inside here for the different screen sizes that I have. Okay, and it's cascaded. So it means that it's going to check this is going to be the default. This is going to happen if the screen is medium. This is going to happen when the screen is very, very small. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me a use case for this? This is very important for websites. Like for example, if you're designing websites for different media, then this will also play a very, very large role. So just a moment, just a moment. Okay, okay, mm, okay, mm. Wacha nikazi, wacha nisome moja moja nilikuwa nafanya ndio kutoka kutoka hapo. Kwa sababu kiniambia nyingi na baada wacha tu nisome moja alafu ni wacha nisome tu nikamalize. Oh, sorry. So as I was mentioning, the use case for this would be if you have an application and you're targeting different screens, then this would be very, very important. Let me give you a classic example. For example, if I have an app and I am running it on a regular computer, I might want the menu to be at the top. Okay. If I'm running it uh, on a mobile device, I might want the menu to be at the bottom. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's just a classic. Or I might want the menu to arrange from left to right when it is a big screen, but when it's a small screen, I want them to arrange on top of one another. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's actually do that and see how that works out. So I can have here. So here I'll just okay, I reference the file. So I'll simply say you have a navigation. So inside this navigation, have an added list, then put a list item, and maybe say maybe five of them. Ndio. So hapo tuko
Yeah.
na home, tuko na products and services, tuko na contact us, tuko na blog. Uh, Maybe we can have our team. Well, of course, You can now go ahead and uh, and add icons if you want to. Sindio?
Yeah.
So you can add icons. So I'll put that like that. So now I have this. So for now, I'm not interested in them being. For now, I'm not interested in them being able to point anywhere. I just want to display them. Otherwise, if I wanted them to point anywhere, I would put a hyperlink here, isn't it? Then
Yeah.
I tell the hyperlink where to go. So here, I can come and now start putting my styles. So default, I'll have this an ordered list. So another list. So yes, I'll have my UL, and I'll say the list style is none, and padding is 0. So you can see it doesn't have list style. Then I can say for the UL, all the list items, I want them to display in line, like that. So they're on one line.
Yeah.
Then I can simply put some padding. So I can put some. Okay, I can put a margin right of that. So then I can change the font color to maybe say white, white, not wheat, white. Yeah. So like that, right? Then I can change maybe the font family to be Sego. This one looks nice, right? Then maybe I can give a slight. Okay, well, I can give a slight background of maybe say light blue. Then I can give a padding of 10 pixels all around. Um, as you can see, it starts to look bad, but I can change the border radius to be say 10 pixels. Yeah, something of the sort. So on mobile, you can see it's not looking nice. This is border radius. So something okay, 10 pixels is a bit too big, so let me make it 5, like that. So you can see it's not looking so bad. It's almost nice, right? So you
Yeah.
see on a big screen, it doesn't look bad, But if I come to a mobile screen, now you can start to see how it looks like. Okay? Not nice at all. On a big screen, totally fine. On a small screen, not good at all. Okay? So on my small screen, what I can do here, on my very, very small screen here, this display, I can change it to block. So I can come here and say the body will change the background, of course, but then I want also the elements now to show from top to bottom. So I'll simply say here on my UL, all the LI items, I want to display them as block. Okay, so display block. So when I display them as block, then I can say the width, sorry, width will be 100%. Um, that's, yeah, that should actually would have applied. They should have they should have put them on top of one another. Okay. Why isn't the width? Width should be 100% here. Display. Actually, block should have worked. No, it's not working. Block should have worked because block should have displayed it as a block. So it means that it could have caught one on top of the other. But you get the idea, right? Of course, you're going to use flex, but you get the idea. Oh, it is looking at a very, very small screen. 480 is 480 is very, very small. So I'll simply say the width margin top. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it is. I don't know why. Ah, I think it's because I'm putting a padding. I think what I need to do is to remove the padding. Do I have padding here? I should say padding is 0. Yeah, so now the padding is not there. So I can say give them a height or say 100 pixels. And the margin top of 100 pixels. I don't know why it's not adding up. I don't know, it's not adding up nicely. It's supposed to be on top of one another. I don't know, it's not adding up nicely, but you get the idea that when it comes to media, I can apply different media for different content. So I can have the default content, then depending on the screen or the output that I want, I can apply the style that I am actually looking for. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is actually how we do it as a standard. So if you go to any website, you'll find that they have media queries for different applications altogether, including Google. So if you go to Google, you go to Facebook, you'll find that they have the default styles at the top. Then now they target the specific media as we move below, depending on the different screen sizes or different media that we are targeting. So we might be targeting different screen sizes. If I'm targeting a very large TV, if I'm targeting a TV, I can simply hide this menu and not show it. Okay? But
Yeah.
actually, in most cases, what most people do will create two different kinds of two categories of menu. One that is horizontal, one that is vertical. So depending on the screen size, I will just hide as appropriate. Okay? So
Yeah.
that's also another technique that most people use, especially when you see that you're going to have issues formatting this one style over here like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Want to try that out, or I can continue?
Let's continue. Just continue.
All right. So now that is media queries, and we're going to use them a lot when you're doing our project. So for now, I will now jump ship and go into what we call the CSS Flexbox. Okay. So
Yeah.
the Flexbox, I think I'll create for it its separate file so that now it does not interfere with our flow. So I'll just call it flexbox.html. So what's a flexbox? A flexbox is a layout component that allows us to deal with one dimension layouts. So one dimension means is whether you are laying it out horizontally or vertically, but in one direction only, not both. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just give us a classic example so that you see how it looks like. So here I'll simply say flexboxes. So I'll create a flex container here, flex container. Then inside this flex container, I'll create 5 other flex boxes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me create 4, times 4. 5 might be a little bit too much. Then here I'll have numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, of course, I'll dispose of this and start this new one. It's not going to look like much, eh? So you can see, because they are divs are block level elements, so it means that they're going to occupy the whole space. That's why they are displaying one on top of the other. Okay?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do here, I'm going to introduce a style here, and I'm going to say this flex container, well, it has, I only needed it to show like that, eh? So when you take the display and you say the display is flex, it's going to show like this. Okay? Are we together?
Yeah.
But now I want them to be big enough so that you're able to see the container themselves. So I'll say flex container, flex container. Then I'll put my div. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them width and height of 50 pixels. Width of 50 pixels. Then I also give it a height of pixels. Right? 50 pixels. Is that small? Let me give them 100 by 100. Now I might not see any difference. Oh, so it's because I didn't put a space here. Flex container, that's not the spelling of flex container. I misspelled this. So now you can see they are space apart.
Yeah.
So let me just make them 50-50. I think 50 was still okay. Then what I can do um, is to add a background here, and maybe say I'll give it a light pink, so you can see like that. But then with the with the container itself, I want to give it. I can give them a bit of margin right of 10 pixels, so they are separated. Now, so I just wanted you to see them separated. Then what I can do is in the flex container itself, I can give it a background of maybe say background of green, like that. So you can see I have the container which has a background of green. Then I have the container elements which now have a different background altogether. And this is where I want us to now start focusing our um, our our flex grid. So flex grid we said is a one dimension. So I put here flex grid because we also have grids. Flexbox rather not flex grid. Flexbox is a one dimension layout tool. So you use it for one dimension layout. Okay, as you have seen. Now by default, the other things we need to check with the flex box is the flex direction. So since I'm displaying this as a flex, I can change the flex direction, and the flex direction can take at least four parameters. So it displays by default on row. So you can see this is the first row, the second row, the third row, the fourth row. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to display it as column, if I wanted to display them one on top of the other, I simply say column, column, like that. When I say column, now you're seeing they're displaying one on top of the other. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can also use something like row reverse. So if you say row reverse, it means that it's going to start with 4 all the way to 1. So you can see initially it was starting at this corner. Now it is starting on the other corner and it's in the reverse order. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we will deal with how this distribution is being done later on. But what's important is you being able to understand. So, for example, if I had a menu and I want that menu to display in the reverse order, so I'll simply say row reverse. I can also say column reverse. So it will display them in columns. So you can see now I've started with 4 all the way to 1. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what if I had another set of divs here? Then this one is 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me just add another div, which is 9. So then I'll just remove this direction to make it row, which is the default.
Yeah.
You can see what happens over here. Once I reach 6, 7, 8, and 9, now they're not able to fit here. So what have they done? They have gone downwards.
Gone down. Yeah.
So that's usually a problem that we have with flex boxes, and that's why now we introduce the other parameter, which is the flex wrap. So we also have flex wrap. By default, it is not wrap. By default, it is not wrap, as you can see. But when I say wrap, it means it will try as much as possible to fill in flex wrap. Yeah, it should have filled it in and then wrapped downwards. It means my divs. Um, oh, made a mistake here. So when I say wrap, you can see it goes to 7 because 8 and 9 cannot fill in. Then they come here. So let me just remove this one so that you see how it behaves. So you can see by default, it has tried to fit all of them in one line. Okay, because I've
Yeah.
said there's no wrap. So it will just try to squeeze them the best it can so that they fit on one line. But that's not usually the best idea. So that's why we introduce the flex wrap so that what it is going to do, flex wrap, which is wrap. So what wrap will do is it will try its best to fit them on one line. If it can't fit them on one line, then it will simply move them downwards. So for example, if I make the screen bigger, you can see they're in one line. If I
Yeah.
make the screen smaller, you can now see they are in two lines. If I even make it smaller, they'll be now be in three lines or stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Let me just make it smaller. You can see now they're even now in three lines. Now they're in three lines. Okay.
Yeah.
So even making them smaller, you can see they now have come from two lines again small again. So you can see now when I'm using a flex box, assuming I was doing a similar menu that I done before, you can see now I'm not worried about how the menu is going to appear on the form because the flex box will take care of the wrap for me if I tell it to wrap. So in terms of wrapping, there is either no wrap, or you can wrap it in reverse. So you come here and say wrap reverse. So it will just wrap it now in reverse direction as you can see over here. Okay, I'll close
Yeah.
that. Now you can see it's wrapped reverse. Then I can just make them try to make them equal like that. You can see now it's not wrapped but it's in reverse direction. So if I come here, wrapping goes in the reverse direction. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's flex wrap. Okay,
Yeah.
then we also have what we call justify content. So as you look at this content, so let me just remove the ninth one so that there are not too many. So if you look at this content that I have over here, or maybe actually I can do 4. If you look at this thing, they are arranged from the start here going all the way to the end. So it means that if there is space here that none of them is covering, it's only going to use whatever is available for it. So let's look at how justify content works. we want to justify this the content of this flex box so that it tries to mimic how it can automatically fill in this screen. So when it comes to justifying content, you can by default it justifies it as flex start. This is called flex start. So when I come here, I can simply say justify content, then you can see flex start. That is the default. It won't change anything. But I can come and say I want them to be at the center of that flex box. So I'll say here center. So you can see now they have moved inside the center. Okay.
Yeah.
I want them on the extreme right. I can say flex end. So they'll come towards the end here. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you might want? Well, I can also, if I wanted them to occupy even space here, I'll simply say space between. Okay.
Yeah.
Space between. So when I say space between, now you can see it tries to leave equal amount of space B between them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can say space around also. The spacing we around, now it will try to make them as centered as they possibly could. Eh?
Yeah.
Then you can also have space evenly.
Yeah.
Evenly. So now you can see the spaces are almost identical between all of them. Okay. So again, if
Yeah.
you're using icons and you're using menus and you want them to appear nicely centered and stuff like that, then you can also use the justify content. It will justify the content. This is the content of the flexbox. Eh? So this is the content that is being justified as divs as they are, not as text inside them. Okay.
Yeah.
So then there's another property which is align items. Align items now is alignment of these items. Okay.
Yeah.
So the other one is justifying them, the other one is aligning them. So I can come here and say align items, and align items also has properties like I can say flex that. So that is the default. If I say center, it will try to align them center. Align item center. Yeah, that should have aligned them at the center. Um, well, I've given it a height, so then maybe what I can give is maybe let me give a padding top, a padding of 20 pixels all round. So flex start, align item flex start. Okay, I'm not seeing any change there. Align item center. Why is it not okay? Well, I think it's not actually align item center. It should be align content. It should be align content. So when I say align content, sorry, when I say align content here, then I simply say center.
It means the same.
Yeah, okay, that's strange. Yeah, that makes sense. That center is okay. We have right, left. Actually, this is flex start. Flex start is left. Flex start is left. Flex end is right. So, so flex start is up here, flex center, flex end. Then you also have there is how I usually put them here. Okay, okay, that is text alignment. That will be text align. Again, sometimes you, depending on what you're targeting, you might be dealing with different things. There's the flexbox itself, then there's the content on the flexbox. So it will depend on what you want to format at that particular point. But this is the whole idea of how I wanted us to see how the flexbox works. Again, as you can see, very importantly, is that the flexboxes will allow you to group components or contents in ways that other things cannot allow you to do them. Okay, like for example, in terms of wrapping them, in terms of aligning contents, in terms of aligning the flex grid, even in terms of giving the background and any sort of style. I might even decide to give them alternative background colors. Maybe the even one is odd, the even one is green, the odd one is purple, and all that kind of stuff. So it's all about how you'd want your user interface to look like. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing I want us to look at is how do you use this flex inside responsive design? Because once you have done the flex, then you use responsive design for this particular flex. So what you're going to do is, maybe say I want to display this on a mobile phone. So on a mobile phone, you can see on a mobile phone, they are still displaying with that. I want them to display one row, so one on top of the other. Okay. This one was displayed correctly because the content is not much. But say I have an icon, I have some menu text and all that. I want them to appear one on top of the other. Okay.
Mm.
So how do I achieve that? Well, I can leave the styles to remain like this. But then when I come down here, I can simply say this is now responsive flex boxes. So for the responsive flex boxes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say now, I'm just trying to show you how we can use a combination of both the media queries and the flexbox. You can combine them in any form of combination so that they give you the output that you're looking for. Okay. So here I'll say when the media is a screen, and of course I need a maximum width of maybe say maximum width of 480. The breakpoints are I'll show you the breakpoints, 480 pixels. Then I want you to do the following. I just take my flex container. Then my flex container, I'll simply say flex direction. Already it's already flex box, so I'll say flex direction is now column. By default it's row, so I change it to column. So then if it is column, then again I can come here and say the flex container, flex container, yeah, something. Then I pick a div, something like that. So when I put that, now you can see it is covering the whole screen. Of course, I can come back here and change the align items center. Okay.
Mm.
Then um, text alignment. Is it align? It's actually align content. Align content center. So it align center. Then text align center. So now you can see my text appears right in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I exit the mobile user interface like that, it changes. If I switch to mobile interface, it changes. So that is how we are able to achieve that. So you can see there is the power of the media query and of course now the power of the flex grid. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow I would like us to look at the grid. The grid is different from a flex box because grid is two-dimension or even three-dimension. So it can take multiple angles, and we'll see where we can use it, especially uh, the use case is something when you're dealing with a photo gallery and you want to do something like a collage or something of the sort. So the grid will be a better tool to use compared to the flex. But then after that, I think we'll now take into we can do as I don't know if we should do a project or we should do JavaScript first, so that when we come back, we can now do a complete project. Okay, we can decide. We can decide to do a project on HTML and CSS alone. Then we can
Yeah.
now go ahead and focus and start focusing on how to use JavaScript. Okay.
Yeah.
I am hoping today's recording has recorded successfully. I am trying to hurry up this because I have another meeting in about 15 minutes. So I didn't
Yeah.
want the meeting to get hold on with this. So maybe you can practice on this, just
Yeah.
understand how the media queries work. You can experiment in using any form of CSS code block, or you can target any element on your page. You can take your menu, you can try to organize it from top to bottom, you can try to either show or hide icons. It will depend on really how you'd want to do it. Then when you're doing a practical tomorrow, I'll show us exactly how I achieved that with this sample application over here. So I have this application over here. So if you can see, if I run it normally, let me just show you. So I'll show you how to achieve search with those queries. So and specifically this menu. So you can see this menu by default, okay, it's showing, but usually by default it will hide like that. So when I load the page and the page is small enough, it's going to hide. When the page is big enough, sorry, when the page is big enough, you'll see it shows on its own. Okay.
Yeah.
When the page is small enough, it hides. Okay, something of the sort. Of course, we can also trigger that with hovering over it. Then you can also see how to click this button, which will make it appear or disappear. Sorry, I don't know why this button is not targeting, so let me just make it full. So if I click on this button, it will appear or disappear like that. So we're going to see how to achieve search. Okay, any question?
No.
I'll make this code. Yeah, I think if I make this recording available, you should be able to follow up on the code. Today we haven't written much, but the content speaks for itself. Media
Yeah.
queries, you need to just look at them in great detail, just understand how they work. Oh, what I forgot to mention was the CSS breakpoints.
Yeah.
So CSS breakpoints, I can do it as an image. So it will give you something like this. So when you're using a media query, when you're talking about a small screen, you can say it is 0 to 480. If you're talking about tablets and larger smartphones, it is 481 to 768. If you're talking about tablets and small desktops, they are up to 1279. Then anything that's above 1280 is considered a very large screen. So even as you're applying your media queries, these are the breakpoints that you're going to be dealing with. So as I was writing my code, you're seeing I was writing something like maximum width. That maximum width, I was targeting the for like this one, maximum width of 480. It means that it goes up to 480. Anything that is 480 and below, then this style should be able to be applied. Okay.
Yeah.
And remember, we said the media is optional. You can provide all. You can provide screen, you can provide print, you can provide TV, you can provide handheld and soft and so forth. So depending on the device that you're targeting, then these styles are going to be applied. So you can see I can do one website that has that has 10 different styles for 10 different devices that I'm targeting, and everything still looks well and good in any of those devices, regardless of what they are. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's the essence of why we are actually looking at this. So for the breakpoints, you can use these breakpoints over here. You can just go to Google, then say CSS breakpoints. It will give you the breakpoints. Some of them will even give you breakpoints in much larger detail. So, what do fonts cover? What do small tablets cover? What do big large tablets cover? What do light screen cover? So, it will depend on really what you're looking at. Okay. So, as you can see here, they've told you 1312 for light screen, up to 924 for medium screen, up to 6068 for tablets. Then, of course, below that one, now they are mobile phones, similar to what we have over here. So 480 is normal phone in portrait, up to 767 is normal phone in uh, uh, in, 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 in portrait in landscape. Then tablet is up to 978, then and so on and so on. So we can go on in that direction. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can always do a quick Google search, then just see what values you can use for your media queries. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'll let you practice. So I'll share this recording just immediately after this, so that you can be able to look at it in the event that there's something you'd like to review.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not given you time to review this today, so I'll give you
Yeah.
the time to review that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.